This lesson overviews some of the basic considerations when setting up an analytics device to work with ACC software. While you should review the technical documents provided for your device, these modules cover general considerations for optimizing analytic capabilities. This lesson also includes features that you must enable or test within ACC software to ensure analytics perform properly. After completing this lesson, you'll be able to describe proper installation techniques that optimize the self-learning feature and apply the Teach by Example feature in ACC software. This module overviews how to set up a site to optimize the self-learning feature. While it primarily covers considerations when physically setting up a camera, a properly mounted camera is essential for the software to function properly. After completing this module, you'll be able to describe proper installation techniques that optimize the self-learning feature. This feature is available in these editions of ACC software. The following sections provide a basic set of installation parameters when installing an analytics device. Cameras must be able to see moving objects in the FOV for a minimum of 2 seconds. They should be mounted at a minimum of 2.8 meters and to a stable surface to minimize vibration and movement in the camera. They can be tilted within 30 degrees from the horizontal plane. Tilting can help in detecting targets that are directly approaching the camera. The FOV should also be level with the horizon. Objects moving parallel to the FOV provide better results than objects moving to or from the camera. When setting up a camera, you should avoid direct light sources. The camera may be temporarily blinded if light sources shine directly at the camera. Avoid installing the camera in areas with drastic changes in lighting throughout the day. Changes can cause large shadows. Different coloring in the space may generate inconsistent detection results. Be conscious of indirect light sources, including reflections from built-in or external IR illuminators, mirrors, and other reflective surfaces. Adaptive IR functions by adjusting the IR output dynamically to prevent oversaturation in the scene as the light changes throughout the night. Cameras using only built-in IR for illumination at night detect targets at a much shorter distance. Additional illumination is required to consistently detect targets. Be aware that IR may blur the outline of objects and negatively impact the accuracy of the video analytics. The recommended minimum illumination is 8 lux on target for analytics cameras. For non-analytic, third-party cameras that are connected to the ACC ES Analytics appliance, the minimum illumination requirement varies from camera to camera. For illuminating distances, it's important to account for lighting, weather, contrast, and camera stability conditions. To identify objects accurately, the scene must be clear and without obstructions. For outdoor applications, avoid placing the camera where the FOV includes foliage, terrain, or large objects that occlude the subjects of interest. For indoor applications, a person may be detected as long as their upper body, including head and shoulders, is visible. They should be fully visible and not overlapping for the appearance search feature to operate properly. In outdoor areas, be careful not to select a coverage area that is too large. Objects may become obscured by rain or fog even when there is enough lighting and contrast. In indoor areas, make sure the indoor coverage area is not too small. Low ceilings or confined spaces may pose problems with establishing a scene that fits the recommended criteria. Objects that enter the FOV from behind the camera may take up to 4 seconds to be classified. The object should be in the FOV for 5 seconds for optimal object classification. If fast, lateral moving vehicles are expected, use a wider FOV to increase the available observation time. To sum up, this module overviewed how to set up a site to optimize self-learning. Properly installing a camera must include considerations of lighting and weather conditions, the angle of the camera, and the velocity of the detected object. Access the appropriate guides on the Avigilon website for these instructions and other installation requirements. This module overviews how to use the Teach by Example feature to improve the accuracy of classifications done by the system. The Teach by Example feature is recommended if the system reports an undesirable number of false alarms after the self-learning feature is complete, or it has been recommended by an Avigilon representative to disable it. After completing this module, you will be able to apply the Teach by Example feature in ACC software. This feature is available in these editions of ACC software. Usually, the self-learning feature is sufficient for high detection accuracy in a scene. But if further improvement is desired, you may improve the classified object detection accuracy of an analytics device by using the Teach by Example feature. You can perform it after the self-learning feature is complete or when it's disabled. Always reset self-learning or teach by example after a camera is physically moved or adjusted, and if the focus or zoom level is changed. First, you must assign true or false teach markers to the objects that the analytics device detects, then apply these teach markers to train the analytics device. Note that teach markers are local to a single server and are created for individual cameras. They are not shared between servers or cameras. There are two types of permissions pertaining to teach by example. The first permission is create teach markers. This allows designated groups to mark detection boxes in any of the search functions. Note that you cannot access the Teach by Example setup page through any of the search functions. You must access it in the camera setup page, which requires another permission type. By default, standard users, power users, and administrators have the Create Teach Markers permission enabled. The second permission is Set up Teach by Example. Users who have access to the Teach by Example setup allows them to view all the marked detections, clear all markers, apply markers, and factory reset the device. By default, power users and administrators have this permission. In the Site Setup menu, click here. Both permissions types can be set from this page. Switch to the Highlighted tab by clicking here. First, select the group you wish to give permissions. Click here. Click the highlighted button. In this section, the first permission is located here. The second permission is located here. Once you've assigned these permissions to the group, return to the Setup menu by clicking here. Select the camera on which you want to configure the Teach by Example feature, then click here. Objects that the analytics device detects are outlined in red or blue bounding boxes. Click inside a bounding box to open the Object's Teach Markers pop-up menu. Select True Person or True Vehicle if the analytics device has correctly identified this object as a person or vehicle. Select False Person or False Vehicle if the analytics device has incorrectly identified this object as a person or vehicle. Select Not Used if you do not want to use this object as a teaching sample. A camera can have a maximum of 50 true teach markers and 50 false teach markers at a time. Each camera needs at least 30 true teach markers and 30 false teach markers to teach an analytics device. You can see how many teach markers you've created in the highlighted area. Select a marker from the Teach Markers list to view it. The image panel displays the associated video. The teach marker details appear below the image panel. You can sort the teach markers in ascending or descending order by time, response, class, creator by clicking any of the column headings. To apply teach markers to an analytics device, click the highlighted button. The analytics device uses the teach markers in the list to improve its analytics accuracy. You need a minimum of 30 true teach markers and 30 false teach markers for each analytics device. If you do not have the minimum required markers, you will see an error message. When you apply teach markers, the software removes them from the marker list. Once the analytics device has learned how to correctly identify people or vehicles in its field of view, it can continue to train itself and further improve its accuracy over time. To reset the analytics device's teach slate, click the highlighted button. Note that clicking this button will not delete any teach markers from the teach markers list that have not yet been applied, but it will clear any Teach by Example filters or learnings that you have previously applied to the analytics device. To sum up, this module overviewed how to use the Teach by Example feature to improve the accuracy of classifications done by the system. The Teach by Example feature is recommended if the system reports an undesirable number of false alarms after the self-learning feature is complete, or it's been recommended by an Avigilon representative to disable it.